name is Tyler Bryant, and I play for Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Welcome to my home studio. Having this studio and having the microphones, it's all just in an effort for me to be able to do my thing and be ready to do it. I was gifted a ribbon microphone by my parents for Christmas, and my parents, you know, they noticed that I was just obsessing about recording and spending all my time doing it, so they bought me a ribbon microphone for Christmas, and it was a cheap ribbon microphone, but immediately I was drawn to how it sounded rounder and fuller than the condenser microphones I was using or the dynamic microphones I was using. As I got to know that microphone and its sound more, I dreamt of getting the R84. That was the first AEA microphone I purchased. But yeah, I got the R84, and that sort of like sent me off on a tear, you know what I mean?
And that's that one right there.
Yeah. And I've used that on, every record I made.
Is that the one that you got?
Yeah, that's the first AEA mic I bought, yeah.
Wow.
And I've given AEA a lot of my money since then. I've got the R88A. I bought the active one, which I think it's nice to have. I have a bunch of the old RCA ribbons and a bunch of ribbons that don't require phantom power, but it's nice having the extra little bit of gain and to be able to work with some of my more modern pre's, and the same thing with like the KU5A, I believe. I just I took that to a friend to have a little tune-up done, and he was like, I can't believe how close this is to a BK5, the RCA. But yeah, I've got the 44CE, which is amazing, and I've done shootouts with my original 50s RCA 44BX, and it's very close. They're both set up right now, one set up in here and one set up in there, so it depends on what room I'm in. That's kind of how I like to have my space set up. It's like, where will people be? Like, I did a session today and I didn't know if we were going to sit in here, if we were going to sit in there, or if we were going to do it live. So I just kind of keep microphones plugged in and ready to turn on. That way we can try to get the moment while the moment feels like it's worth getting.
Yeah.
Well,
that's sick.
Yeah. But, and then, I've got, I'm trying to think that AEA wise, yeah, it's the RD4, the RD8, the KU5A, which the KU5A has become my favorite microphone on a guitar amp. It sounds fantastic. And I've even done vocals with it. I mean, so many things. The RD4, I just recently did a track with an upright bass, and I called Vance Powell because I never recorded an upright bass before, and he's like, dude, this is where you put that microphone, and it sounded so good, And then right now the RD8A is living over my drum kit. Sometimes I use it as a room, or I'll put it we have a baby grand piano upstairs. It sounds phenomenal on that. Really, and then I've done vocals just using one side of it. Sounds incredible. And then other ribbons that I have, I've got the RCA SK46, which I believe was the last ribbon that RCA did. The 74B, which is another sleeper microphone on guitar amps. It just sounds so cool. It's got a different sound to it altogether, but yeah. And then I got a whole other little batch of odds and ends that I like to pull out occasionally. I know a lot of people put their mics away every day, but I kind of look at these like they're tools that I want to have ready to build something. When it comes to like old ribbon mics versus new ribbon mics, I've had to have almost all of my old ribbon mics repaired, and if I were to put my favorite old ribbon up next to my favorite modern ribbon, which would be my AEA 44, my favorite modern ribbon that I own, the sonic difference is almost unnoticeable. So I think it just depends on the song for me, whether I would use an old one or a new one, and also what pre I'm using. Sometimes like with the R88A, I can use that with just about any pre because of the technology inside the microphone. It sounds good with any pre. So I did a session today with the 44 straight through the RPQ with like a little bit of EQ through the stay level, and I didn't have to do any further compression or EQ. It was a finished vocal sound from the jump, and the people in the room were going, what are you putting on that? And it was nothing. It just sounded done. So that's sort of the goal, is like to fill the room with stuff like that. And I just flip knobs until I'm like, that sounds like the thing. And I listen back to recordings I made 3 years ago, and I'm going, oh man, I would have done this differently. I would have done this differently. And that's the beauty of doing this. It's like, there's not a right or wrong way, you know. Everyone has their own way and their own method, and you kind of just take what you like and leave what you don't and figure out your own way. The thing I feel really lucky about is we've been able to work with the Shakedown, work with incredible engineers like Vance Powell or Roger Allen Nichols, who is also one of the first guys that really like turned me on to a lot of ribbon mics. So we just started our own record label. Rattleshake Records was a big goal of mine. I look at a lot of artists that I really love and respect, and the only difference is that they've done it. They've figured it out. So it's like, I've been just trying to take some of those steps. How do we make this more sustainable? And it's like, you make your own records, you put your own records out, you start your own record label, because it's ultimately like what I want to feed all of this into. Yeah, so this guitar, man, this was given to me by my family. My main pink guitar that I was playing forever was stolen. We were driving from Vancouver to Nashville, because sometimes booking agents don't look at maps, you know what I mean? We pulled off, it was probably 5 a.m. when we pulled into this hotel. Like a big dummy, I didn't take the guitars into the hotel, and our rig got broken into. They took all the guitars except for one, which I still have, and they took clothes, they took headphones. We had 12 donuts. They ate 11 of them. They just a big FU, you know what I mean? My parents, who both worked 2 jobs when I was growing up, kind of pulled together some money. They borrowed some money, and they got me this guitar. And so Fender is going to be releasing a custom shop signature version of this guitar. And it's a dream come true for me as a guitarist from Texas, you know, who grew up idolizing all the great Strat players like Jeff Beck and Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and, you know, a bunch of unsung heroes. Like, I got a poster of Alan Haynes, who was one of my favorite Texas guitar players, Anson Funderburg. You know, just there's so much like the Texas history, especially rooted in the blues, that I love. That was, you know, it utilized these instruments. So to have one with my name on it, it's like a dream come true. Yeah, I'll show you the prototype. I've been playing these on the road, and Shakedown fans have been asking. They're like, Did you get it repainted? You know what I mean? It's like, no, I didn't get it painted. When I got that guitar, it looked like this. It was still pretty. They're my stories, you know, and I wanted to leave the paint on the, you know, the custom shop version. That way people could write their own stories with the guitars. So, well, I mean, one of my craziest recording stories is with Vance Powell. We were working on a song with Vance, and Caleb, the drummer for the Shakedown, who's a phenomenal drummer. I mean, he does session work all over town, and he's just one of the best drummers in town. He and I were tracking the song live, and Vance was in the control room. So I'm hearing the amp in the room with me and Caleb. So we're hearing, our dynamics are great, and Vance has his own set of dynamics where he needed us to play really soft to achieve the sound he was going for. And we kept just overplaying and playing a little too hard, and we would get like 2 or 3 minutes in, and then Vance would come over the intercom and go, "Stop! Start over!" And we played the song probably 40 times. And then finally we get to almost the end of the song, and Vance comes on the intercom and goes, "Caleb, sounds like you're walking through a junkyard in there." And we were like, "Oh, we're going to go home. We'll come back tomorrow." We came back and nailed it, you know what I mean? But that's one of my favorite Vance Powell stories, because he whooped us on that song. If I'm working with the Shakedown, it's a completely different dynamic than if I'm working with other artists, because we've been a band for so long that we have this brotherly type of, we don't have to sugarcoat anything. So if there's an idea that's spoken that I disagree with, or that Caleb disagrees with, or Graham, the other guitarist, disagrees with, then we just say it, and it's like no hard feelings. We're very direct in that way. And I think sometimes working with new people, you have to, you know, not sugarcoat things, but just I can't be quite as brash. And I try to use this with every session I do, is no idea is a bad idea until it's proven that it's a bad idea. And that's one way that, like, Roger Allen Nichols, who's one of my favorite producers and engineers and mix engineers, he's been a great friend of me and someone that's mentored me and like taken me under his wing kind of. And we've written probably 100 songs together and recorded them all, and and he always would give me room to express my ideas, even the bad ones. And sometimes it takes the artist realizing it's a bad idea on your own, and then they might come up with a better idea next time, you know? So if there's time for that, then great. Sometimes there's just no time, and you have to be direct. But I don't know, I've been really enjoying learning what other people's processes are, you know, because just only the past like 3 or 4 years have I been working with other artists outside of the Shakedown, you know? So like working on a Larkin Poe record is different than working on a Frankie Ballard record or working on a Zach Person track, or like, you know, it's like each artist has their own way of being and operating, and just trying to figure out how to comfortably fly under the radar and get something across the finish line has been an exciting journey for me. I love AEA ribbon mics. They sound awesome.
Oh, yeah?
I use them every day. Cheers. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.